Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. Now I am taking this up one more when it comes to the next ship, the Cormorant 2. Now the Cormorant 2 is a really unique class vessel, and by unique I don't mean that it's one of a kind or anything of that sort. I just mean that it is a really powerful vessel for you to actually have a chance to control and play with. Now when it comes to this vessel, please bear with me that there are a lot of things about it that even I don't have 100% of the knowledge on. And the reason for it is quite simple. I don't use a Cormorant 2. I normally go straight to a Navy issue after the basic level ship. So with this here, please bear with where I'm going to take you and the things I'm going to show you. This particular class is a little bit mixed up, so you're going to get a little bit of a change in order. You're going to see me going from T4 to T7 ships. It's just the way that it goes. I can't control what's within a class. I just have to deal with it and effectively do it because it's the easiest way for me to actually give you a full breakdown. So let's get into the next part of this craziness. Okay. So the Cormorant 2 has about the same buffs as the original Cormorant. A 25% optimal range bonus. Now with the optimal range bonus, it's obviously going to help you with ranged fighting. You'll see that once I reach this class, I actually forego the whole option of taking on the close range combat with these vessels. That is because even though these vessels are pretty much in a sweet spot between power and the ability to close into enemies, I wouldn't push them below this region. So let's see where the small gun operation bonuses come. Plus 2.5% damage per level, right? So when you count this up, 2.5 times 5, it's going to take you up to about 12.5, so 12.5 extra damage added in. It's not a lot, but it is quite a bit. 37.5% railgun tracking speed. That is fantastic for you as a person firing with these weapons. That's going to allow you to track your enemy a lot more efficiently. Plus 37.5% optimal range. Now originally we only had 50%. This time we have a 12.5% addition to it, so it's 60. I'm not even going to pull the full calculation. I think it's 62.5 meters out on defense range. But there is something for you to take into consideration when working with this vessel. Oh, I'm sure that's sheaves. So anyway, let's go on to the last one. It also has a destroyer command bonus for plus 5% shield bonus. So if you have upgraded this here properly, you have a 25% shield bonus. That means every time you recover, you get 25% extra. This little bonus makes a big difference in combat. And when we take it up one more class with a little bit more powerful vessel than this vessel, it really shows for you as a player. Take that into consideration when we go to the next class and when we start interfering with even heavier vessels. Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't complete showing you all the specs. Now we do know that 3000 was the base on the previous model. This model has 3300, right? It's almost 3400 overall defense. Its velocity is 341 meters per second. This is what we were looking for. Slightly better in speed means we're going to have a more effective combat range. We're going to be able to fight more ships. We're going to be able to take on higher level missions. This ship can now cross the boundary of T7, might be able to touch T8, but it still loses efficiency in the end because you can't double auxiliary thrust it, you can't really overpower smaller weapon systems, and since it's particularly a small railgun ship, you can really go quite fast with it and still keep up some firepower. But that is everything that you have to think about when you are building the ship. It's not what you need to think about if you are going to play against the ship. Sorry, no, I'm making a mistake. I had some other notes here. I'm just gonna ignore it. There's something you have to take into consideration of how far you're going to play with the ship and how far you can use it to advance yourself to get to another level in the game. Okay, let's move on. It has a 68 megawatt power grid. Now, yes, it does have a considerable boost from its predecessor at 57, but 68 only gives it 11. We do know that it's going to have a massive boost for its final productivity, and that'll pull it up all the way to the to about 100 megawatts for this total ship's capacitor. So it's just over 100 to be honest, but I don't know the exact figure because I'm not a perfect computer and I can't calculate it that easily. So let's go into it. There are 4 railguns on the ship and we're going to go with rifle. We will not go snub-nosed. This is the reason. To go snub-nosed, you need to be extremely fast. You need to be negating all damage and you need to be able to apply maximum damage at all times. If you can't go very fast, it is absolutely ineffective. You're going to be ineffective to hit targets, you're going to be ineffective to evade targets, you're going to take massive damage and you're not going to kill enemies fast enough. So that is why I actually stick with the way that I build them in this class. So at that rate we have 13 megawatts times 4. That will leave us to 52 megawatts gone from our 100. 52 will leave us with a total of 48 megawatts to deal with the rest of the ship. Now, if you're counting up that firepower, we're somewhere in the range of 32 per weapon. When you add them all together, it's 120. Add in all the bonuses to it with just a 12% increase. That will push you up a little bit higher. So you're looking at around a 135, 139 actual damage. And then you add in your bonuses from the weapon class, which will take it up by 50%. So you're in the low 200s with this vessel. This vessel is very effective for you. Remember, you have range boosts and range bonuses, so you can take a little bit of a larger orbit on the smaller vessels. You have an advantage on them in that sense. It's all up to you to play to your advantage. Okay, moving on. Now, since it is a very effective ship for weapon systems against small vessels, a web of fire will be very useful for you. So 1 megawatt knockout. And the next thing that's going to be very important is a Nosferatu. Now there is a reason for this here. The Nosferatu is going to play a massive role when it comes to your combat, right? Because it has 4 weapons, the drain is slightly heavier on your system, and this 39 gigajoules being added in is going to make a big difference. You are losing 10 megawatts total with your mid slots, so 10 plus the original 52 will take you up to 62 megawatts out of 100, leaving you with just under 38 megawatts to finish off your low slots. Now that is absolutely not a problem. I can finish them off quite simply. Shield booster as the standard, it will definitely improve your chances of staying in a fight. 6 megawatts for the X-type because X-type is now available. So 6 megawatts is where you're going to be facing yourself in, and looking at it, it's 127 boost amount. So this is going to be very effective for you as a player. Thinking about it very carefully, if you use the ship effectively, you will have quite a bit of power at your hands. Now 6 megawatts does knock off a little bit more. We now have 32 left, and yet we do have 32 megawatts left. We had 68 megawatts total power. Obviously there's a 17 and a 1, so it's nothing to worry about. We're going to go with the hardener. The hardener will definitely improve your stats in battle, and we'll go adaptive. Now adaptive and reactive are almost identical in their function. It's just the amount of effective damage reduction that you take that makes the difference between the two. Right, so there you can see it's slightly higher, it's slightly more powerful, that's why it's slightly more expensive. And moving on to the final item, we're going to go with an afterburner. Now you will notice something that will remain pretty much the same with me all the time. I will always end up using similar features every time I upgrade a ship, and that's because it effectively helps a lot when it comes to their overall firepower to give them the same things for each and every vessel. These are the things that I've seen with the best results, so I effectively apply them each and every time to bring out the best performance. So the 17 megawatts plus the 1 megawatt takes out another 18 megawatts. We had more than 20 to go, so actually no, we had more than 32. 32 minus 20, we have 12 megawatts remaining in our power grid. We're fine, we're well within limits. And here's everything that you need to know at this point. Your ship is an effective weapon. It has a good enough power grid to stay in combat, but it doesn't have a good enough power grid to stay healing. So in order to improve it in our engineering, we're going to put in one auxiliary thruster to reduce the damage that it takes, and we're going to put on top of that one semiconductor control. Now the whole idea is to improve your rate at recovering energy. If you go with the afterburner, you will run into the same problems as the lower class vessels, but you will notice that the difference between what I did with the lower class vessels and these vessels is really quite small. They normally had only 2 slots, so they take a shield boost and afterburner, and if I had any other slots, I'd always slot in something that fit in more with the ship's bonuses. Now this ship is a different story altogether. Being part of the destroyer series, they have a little bit more base firepower. With everything that comes in, they also have a little bit more base defense, and if you add that together, it makes it a much more tanky ship than the baseline vessels that you could use. Now these ships are effective against medium class when it comes to T7. T8, they can take on small class, but they do run a strong chance of being destroyed. Remember that when you use these ships, that is a major warning for anybody who uses them, not to underestimate where their limits end. Okay, so I just gave that warning quick and easy. Hope you all did enjoy that. The next thing is going to be the weapon systems. I actually did forget that. Now, considering that you are using a railgun system, you're going to reduce activation time to make it fire a little bit faster, and you're going to increase damage. Tracking increase, these are small weapons, they have very good tracking. Anything that is outside of your tracking range was never going to be caught by you. That is the whole problem with it, and that is where your fall off is when it comes to railguns. Missiles are slightly more forgiving because you can always have someone chase you and hit them because they're closing into your range. Difference with that and railguns is railguns fire instantly. There is no flight time or delay in their impacts. Okay, so that's about it for now. I'll catch you all in the next one. Hope you have a good day.